Model with me today for a skincare shoot. And let's be clear, I am a full-time agency represented, internationally working model, and I felt like it's time for you to actually see what it's like to be a model. So let's do it. If you're already in Model University, then you know what this is going to be. It is my small model bag. Shout out to Baboon to the Moon. It is a lifesaver and it can absolutely go through as a personal item. So check it out. So first thing we do is we get into makeup. That comes as no surprise. Even for a skincare shoot, which is very different from a makeup shoot, you still need to have basically no makeup so that you still look great while using the product. Go figure. All right, so I was actually the first model to be done. The person that you saw in the intro, that is actually the owner. And shout out to her because she is doing this while pregnant, y'all. This has been a long product in the making, and I'm just like really proud of her for like seeing it through. Also, it should be noted that this is a reshoot. Yes, a reshoot. So I was booked for this job last year, and it got canceled. And again, if you're in Model University, then you already know via the emails and the curriculum, sometimes jobs fall through. Even if they're agency jobs, sometimes it just does not pan out. And it's part of the game. It's not okay, but it's part of the game. So when my agency reached back out to me and said, hey, that skincare shoot that we booked you for but fell through is actually shooting, are you still available? I was just like, sure. The rate was great, y'all. The rate was great. So I was like, absolutely. And it was a shorter shoot, so I still was able to do things once I finished. So let's get back into this makeup. So I know you guys can probably tell I am talking my little head off, but I definitely always communicate with my makeup artists to see what they're more comfortable with. Some makeup artists, they don't want the canvas to talk. They just don't. But the ones who are comfortable with having conversation, I definitely do that with them. That's also like a pro model tip. Conversation gets you far. You learn a lot, whether you work with them again or not. Okay, so once we got that conversation out the way, she realized that all this was for YouTube. So we were telling her, if you're going to do YouTube, you got to do it right. You got to put your hand behind the product so that it shows up. And she was such a good sport, y'all. She was such a good sport about everything. We really did have a blast with my makeup, and she really did work in different environments with my makeup per se, because you guys will see her kit a little bit later. But for my actual specific shade range, she had to do a lot of mixing to make sure it looked great, which is, I admire her for it. And when we stepped into a different lighting, because if you guys can see, this was all like yellow lighting and like natural sunlight. When we stepped into the bathroom, which you guys are going to see later, we had a little problem with the way the makeup was showing up. So she was able to quickly correct that, and that shows that she is definitely a true professional. So I really appreciated her for that. As you guys can now see, we are getting into the rest of my face. The other model for this shoot is sitting right there. Hey, girl. She's an amazing model. We're actually from the same agency. But this is our first time meeting in the flesh, and we had like a really good shoot together, and I still owe her my origin story, which if you guys don't know it already, I definitely share it on the Model Made podcast with how I got started modeling, how I actually started making money from modeling, and then how I did it full time and then internationally. So if you guys ever want to check that out, I will link it in the description. And if you want more content like this, definitely be sure to follow me here on this platform, YouTube, because I'm doing much more long form content here. At this point, she's done with my particular makeup, but this is her setup from a more like straight on view. As you can see, she has her foundation, she has all of her eyeshadow palettes, her blushes. You can tell the products she uses the most because they're the most used, but it's a good setup. More importantly, a setup that worked for my skin texture and skin complexion, as well as Camille, who's the model right here. She's the other model for this shoot. Again, such great energy. Little backstory about Camille. So Camille, and again, I know I give other interviews with other models on the Model Me podcast, but I'm going to give you guys a short little spiel on here. So Camille has been with our shared agency since she was in high school, but she went away to college and there weren't any real opportunities where she was that the agency actually could broker for her or like set up for her. So she like stopped modeling with them for a while. And then when she tried to submit to them again, she had to submit several times, upgrade her portfolio and the whole 9 yards just to work with them again. But it worked because now she's here. All right. Now, Camille's getting to the end of her makeup. That's the owner again in the purple suit, or set, should I say, the purple athletic set. The photographer, he's a little out of frame, but he's the guy on the edge. The makeup artist is in the center working on Camille. And the owner's husband is also in the vicinity. If he ever crosses over the camera, I'll let you guys know, but he was such a good sport as well. Okay, teamwork makes the dream work. I kid you guys not. All right, so when we started to move into actually shooting this, so once everybody was actually done with hair and makeup, we did a rotation. So right now, the owner was having her stuff shot. So like that purple is her brand color. So she's shooting with a photographer. I had already gotten dressed, so the makeup artist is just making sure that everything's aligned so that I can then be ready to go and shoot once the owner is done with her shots. So this is another look at, the owner being done. This is where the first shot is going to be. They rented out this entire Airbnb. And of course, since it's skincare, our first shots are in the bathroom. So this is the bathroom I was alluding to at the very beginning. And if you see, these lights are white. Okay, very different lighting than the makeup area. This is me in my approved outfit, making sure everything's sitting the way it should be sitting. This is a very comfortable set, okay? And my hair was cooperating. And it's wild because at the time, I thought that my hair was just like doing whatever it wanted to do, but it looks good, y'all. It looks like you see the 360, okay? And after we got done shooting in the bathroom, which I couldn't really record because it was a tight space, this is what we look like before we move into our next outfit, of course. So this is the next setup. So after we were done with all of our bathroom shots, I did a couple of them. I think the owner did some as well. We did some product shots, so things that were like just the product and like my hands. And then we did some of me actually using the product. So it was a very nice setup in there. Once we were done in there, we moved to the same like foyer area that you guys have been seeing a lot of. And we're using that photo. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's like behind the light stand in the middle of the frame right now. That is going to be our textured background for our headshots. And not headshots for like modeling purposes, but like headshots and close-up portraits that'll be used for the website, social media, etc. So we did a small outfit change. My hair is pretty much the same throughout the whole shoot, but we really made sure it looked vastly different than the bathroom shot. So this is me sliding into frame. Okay, there's that headband that you guys saw a little bit earlier. We had to make sure my jeans were nice and broken in. And we're setting up for these headshots. So the owner has a mood board that she like showed us for shots that she actually wanted to capture. I'll show that to you guys a little bit later, like a little preview of that a little later. But the photographer is getting his framing together. I'm practicing my poses, just giving some really good test shots to make sure that we're really good. As you can see, I am this person at all times. Like, it's so weird me like seeing it. I'm babbling right now because I'm like, wow, this is really what I'm doing on set. Who is this girl? No, but I made sure I was very comfortable with the team. It's not like I just came in and was like being, obnoxious. I really do my job. Like, if you'll see, once he's actually ready and he's got his framing, we go right into shooting. Like, I'm having a good time here. I'm making sure I'm loose and that I'm, ready to shoot and ready to pose and ready to flow through my stuff. But when it's time to shoot, you guys will see like an immediate difference. And I keep talking about my model university students because they see this way more than like the internet, okay? Because they have to. Like, I walk them through how I'm able to flow through these poses, and I actually narrate how I got these shots and what's going through my head and how to actually be comfortable doing this. Like, mind you, we're shooting now. Like, you see what I'm doing right now. I showed you guys how the shot was set up. I showed you guys, what the production is doing, what I'm doing, and I'm flowing. I'm flowing. And then right when he's checking the photos, like you can see right there in his playback and his camera, I'm just vibing out. And then when he's ready, I'm ready. And we go right back into shooting. And I think that's something that a lot of models don't show and that you don't see a lot from models. You only see them in front of the camera or on the runway in very serious situations. You never see the behind the scenes, which is why I want to do these model with me days so that you can see the different clients that you can get. You can see the different environments you can be in, and you can actually know that you can have fun. You can be yourself. You can be a model, and you can make money. Like, that's the whole purpose of this day. So if you love content like this, definitely follow. This is that mood board that I was telling you guys about. All right, so you see how it's super simple, super clean. This is definitely her mood board. So granted, you know, we're going to move on, but this is just the vibe so you understand. All right, cool. Let's get into Camille. I got some behind the scenes of her. Okay. Now she's getting prepped and she saw the same mood board that I did. So at this point, he's reframing for her because there is a slight height difference. Also, her skin, as you could probably tell, is lighter than mine. So he has to adjust his settings. The makeup artist has to make sure that her top knot is still working the way it's supposed to, and isn't too much of like a messy bun. Like we still want it to look intentional. So during that whole, you know, phase, she's nice, she's prepped, and now she's got her energy up, you know, because it transfers into your photos. So if you're not having a good time, if you're not feeling the vibe, it'll show in your photos. Okay, now you can see like Camille's doing the same thing, you know, hop around X, Y, and Z, but when it was her time to shoot, she knocked it out of the park. Now it's time for our group photos. So now you have Camille all the way to the far right. You have the owner in the middle, and then you have myself on the far left. We're getting our last looks. The makeup artist is making sure we look good, as she should. And then she realized after taking a small photo on her phone, like if you rewind this back, you'll see it, that we needed to touch up on lips. So that's what we did. Now it's time for our official group shots. And here's how it went. So the actual product is the small little like semicircle that you see in our hands. It's an exfoliator and also like a cleanser. So we are showcasing this small, very tiny product, right? Now, the packaging and things like that, very nice, very luxurious. And we have other shots with that. But you have to know how to like keep in mind not only like what your fingers are doing, but how you look with everybody else inside of a group shot. Okay, because everybody had to make sure their product was being faced the same way, that we were holding it the same way, which is why I'm now adjusting mine, and Camille's making sure hers is the right way as well. Like you see, it's these small details that all like come together in the final shot. So now we're all smiling. We're making sure our faces are close together. We have on the brand colors. We are giving different variations, small little adjustments of our heights, our face, our necks, extending out the products that were blurry in the background. Like it's a whole process, and it looks really simple. And the way it makes it seem super just like, oh, this is super easy, but it's the smallest things that make or break a shoot. So seeing this is what goes into like even like a skincare brand, like this is just a skincare brand, and not like just like, oh, it's small, but like this is a small product and we have to sell it. So this is a look at that. Now it's time for the next phase of the shoot, which was going outside. I might just die on this hill, but you can't beat natural sunlight. It's top tier. Okay, you want to see how good your makeup looks? Step in the sun. You want your makeup to look even better? Step in the sun. You want your product to look dope? Step in the sun. You want to change up the environment? Step in the sun. The only problem is the sun is a shifty little bugger, okay? If you notice from the time that this particular part of the video started till now, there's a hard line that was on the background here that like fades in and out because the sun is like shifting. And this was driving the photographer crazy, okay? But he is such a great professional, so he really pulled it together. I also want you guys to notice that this is also another model pro tip. If you are the tallest in the bunch and it is supposed to be a group effort, a group shot, compensate. Compensate for other people, especially if there's no Apple box present. Just stoop down a little bit, okay? Hashtag people shorter than you, all right? Just saying. Now, with that being said, I definitely use the whole height difference thing, and I sacrificed, my knees, been working on them in the gym, quads, glutes, calves. So I was ready, all right? But I definitely made sure to compensate for my fellow model, for the owner, to make sure that the framing, we both look the same size. Because if you notice, look at the makeup artist and look at me. Both of our heads are like at the top of the fence. And then you look at Camille and she's a little bit shorter. So because we weren't going to bring an Apple box out for her and we weren't going to have a little step stool for her, I just, compensated. I squatted, I, did small lunges. I did what I could so that we were both at the same eye level. That way, inside of the camera, it captures us being the same height. And because it's a skincare brand, most of the shots that we were doing were like portrait shots and beauty shots. So they weren't going to see our lower bodies anyway. They didn't need to know we were different heights. That's not the point. The point is the product, all right? So remember that. Now, this was more lifestyle work when we stepped outside, so we did a lot more things that were like action-based. We definitely showed other products that are inside of this company's line, so whether it was the travel bags or the actual packaging for the product, we really made sure to give some diversity while using the natural sunlight. And just so you guys know, all of this area for this wooded fence was in the shade. So once he got his settings together to make sure that both me and Camille were well lit and our skin tone looked very natural, we got to shooting, y'all. And if you guys can see, we look so natural, so effortless, because this form of modeling, that's all it required, okay? Know your angles, know your face, be aware of the product, be aware of the camera, but sell the vision of the owner, okay, who just stepped in to change out our bags, because I think one of our bags has like a dent in it. So we had to make sure that it looked as professional as possible. But we're outside, y'all. We're outside getting lifestyle shots. And don't worry, when the photos from this drop, I will definitely do a model with me recap for sure. Also, models helping models needs to be a bigger movement. All right, because this is not the first time that Camille has definitely like helped me with things that I could not see. So like which way my bag was facing, or if like there was like a weird dent in it, she would look and like look out for me, and I really appreciate that from Camille for sure. Also, being outside, leaves and stuff really do get attracted to your fro. So shout out to the makeup artist for making sure that my fro was leaf free. Okay, and as you guys can now see, this is why I stooped down. Do you see how even we look? Do you see how like natural it looks? Do you see how easy it is to capture? Pro tips. Now, I really did try to zoom in so you guys could see what I was talking about, but yeah, that was just a test photo. So that was the end of the shoot, you guys. We shot for a couple of hours. Breakdown was really easy, especially when you don't have to worry about it. And that was the end of the Model With Me day. If you loved this video, you love content like this, you want to know more about behind the scenes of the modeling industry, you want to hear rants about what it's like to really be a model, you want to actually know what the lifestyle of a model is like, how to maintain a model body, mindset, the whole 9 yards, definitely subscribe to the channel and like and share this so that I can know what works for you and make more of it. See you soon.